Hey, how's it going, y'all? So in this video, I'm going to be giving you guys a full set of tips on how you can 10x your lead quality with paid ads. So the big reason this is going to be important is because if you don't know how to accurately qualify your leads, you're likely going to get a bunch of random people that are coming through the door that don't fit your ICP, which is ideal client profile. And especially if you're trying to run a strong ad campaign for months on end or introduce new creatives within the campaign, it's going to be very important you have strong lead quality over time. Otherwise, what's going to happen is your campaign is going to be very confused and it's going to have very shitty targeting, and you're going to end up spending way more money than you need to go after these leads. So, these are a few key things that really go into fixing your lead quality. Of course, it's going to be the ad creative at hand, and then coupled with the ad creative, the visuals on screen, the copy, and the headline as well. So, this is going to be like the most beginner level thing you can do to impact your ability to have a proper ad campaign. It's going to be the messaging, of course. So, with the meta and drama update, having, good copy and good visual on screen is going to be very impactful, like just by itself, because Meta algorithm is able to take from the transcript of the video, the headline, the copy below the ad as well, and be able to give a bit of an understanding on where to go from targeting from there. So that's like just day one marketing principles. So on top of that, it's going to really dive into qualification questions. And honestly, pixel data is a bit of an end result, but when you get good bookings, meaning qualified bookings with leads, we train our pixel data on those bookings. So over time, let's say we get like 50 bookings, we feed all those bookings over to the pixel so that our 51st or 52nd lead that come through the door that are booking in, it's going to be easier to target them because we already have a sample size of leads that fit this mold. And so Meta is able to use that demographic and find lookalikes for that same audience. And then VSL stands for video sales letter. And so when we're pushing leads from our ads over to our funnel or over to our end objective, in most cases, it's going to be booking a sales call, right? If you're new to this page, all of the ads we run are for high ticket service based businesses or just high ticket offers in general. This isn't e-com related ads. E-com's a whole other ball game. I have made a name for myself and scaled up multiple clients with high ticket offers using paid ads. So that's really what I'm talking about today. Especially with lead quality, most people are going to be booking sales calls. All that to say, once we generate that ad traffic, we have to push them over to our funnel, in which case a VSL, video sales letter, is going to act to qualify the lead even more. Because if they're watching this, usually within a VSL, you want to be like, hey, like, are you this person making this amount of money? Maybe you're sick of getting X result and you want Y results, well, this video is for you. Something that's clearly, you're talking to your audience, you're talking directly to them. And if you're not talking to them, you could even tell them, like, hey, like, if this isn't you, or if you're not making this much money, or if you don't fit this demographic, please click off the page. This isn't for you. Verbally saying that as well is just another way to, remove the BS, remove the leads that aren't meant to be there. So the only ones that actually book in a call with you are going to be the valid leads. Now, a few more visuals I'm going to touch on, but just to give you from like a high level understanding. So we're running ads. We usually want to push them over to our funnel. The funnel is immediately where we have our qualification questions, right? You could also do a Facebook lead form, get the qualification questions out the way, and then push them to VSL. Or if we're doing a direct website visit, then usually you're going to do an opt-in with qualification questions off the bat, and then VSL for additional qualification as well to make sure that they're ICP, and then of course push them to your calendar to book in. Now, if they made it through qualification questions, they watched the VSL, and they booked in, that is a valid lead that we want to feed to our pixel so that our ad campaign can turn around and continue to target more people that fit the lookalike of that pixel data. Okay, cool. So now that you guys have a high level understanding of all that, this is a lead quality checklist of some things you need to make sure you have. This is like must have things. First off is going to be specific ad messaging. Like I said earlier, like messaging and the creative itself are going to go a long way with targeting. So you have to clearly call out your niche and the problem. For example, let's say you're a marketing agency and you're looking to work with B2B SaaS providers or something. You're going to want to call them out like explicitly. They'll be like, hey, are you a B2B SaaS provider doing over $100,000 a month? Or if you're going to go in brick and mortar, you could be like, hey, are you a home service provider doing 5 million a year? Honestly, the more niche, the better. So if you have a specific demographic within home services, maybe kitchen remodelers, you could be like, hey, are you a kitchen remodeler doing at least $500,000 a year? I bet you're probably struggling with your ability to go after new leads, or I bet some of your leads are falling through the cracks because you don't have a proper outreach system or lead nurture system. That's their problem. Well, I have the solution for you. Quickly pitch it. Be like, I have the solution for you. I guarantee we'll get you 10 jobs or we'll get you 10 new clients within the next 90 days. Click the link down below to hear more about this, right? Very simple, straight to the point. That's the type of messaging you want on an ad. If we're talking about the duration, usually about 30 seconds is a sweet spot for it to be very affordable from a cost per thousand impressions CPM standpoint on Meta Ads Manager, and still long enough to where you can get your point across. That being said, though, sometimes I launch ads that are a minute long. It's just really important that immediately off the bat, like the first sentence, you're clearly calling out your niche and the problem that the niche is having, and then the sentence after be like, "Hey, I've got that solution to your problem." And then, your pitch from there. Next is going to be funnel congruency. So with whatever messaging you have on your ad, it needs to say the same thing on your funnel throughout the VSL. Like all the copy has to match. And it may seem fairly obvious to some, but sometimes I'll see an ad and it's, claiming this one thing, but when you click over, the messaging is saying something completely different. Especially with cold traffic and leads that don't know you, don't know your offer yet, we really have to bring them up to speed. So little points of confusion, although it can maybe only hurt the grand scheme of your marketing efforts by a few percent, what I always say in marketing is everything is a numbers game. So we need to make the most of those, little percentiles we're losing here, we're losing there to make sure we have the best conversion rate possible. So if in your ad itself, you're calling out roofing companies doing at least $5 million and you're guaranteeing them 10 new clients in the ad, your funnel needs to literally say that in the headline, like roofing companies doing 5 million a year. This is how we're going to go about getting you 10 new clients. Watch this VSL to learn how. And then in the VSL, you explain more about your service delivery and you do multiple book a call CTAs. I recommend one in the beginning, one in the middle, and one at the end. You say something like, "Hey, book in your call. We'll have a quick consultation, see if this is right for you." On that call, also, we'll provide you some value. Maybe you can offer some sort of lead magnet like an offer audit or an ads audit or funnel audit, something just so the business owner that hops on the call with you feels like they're going to get some benefit that'll help with your show up rate. Next is going to be the qualification process. Like I said, you can either have this off the bat immediately on your funnel, like on the opt-in page, or if you want more people to watch your VSL, you can also add the qualification questions at the time of the calendar booking. So, just to give you a high level visual, so this is like a quick 4-step funnel. So the initial page is your opt-in, and then we have our VSL page where we have the video actually showing the offer. We have our calendar page next, which is literally just the actual appointment itself, and then a thank you page. So, as far as the qualification questions, you can either have it directly on the opt in and it'll be more survey oriented, coupled with the name, email, phone number. So, you'll do name, email, phone number, they submit that, and then immediately ask your set of questions. Then push them to the VSL, and then frictionless from there, they can book in the calendar. How I currently have my funnel set up for my organic stream, though, is initial opt in is solely name, email, phone number. That's it. So we have that data at least VSL. And if they still want to book in a call during the time of the calendar booking, we have a few qualification questions before they actually are able to submit. And then the thank you page after that, usually with a call confirmation, you want to have something on there to make sure that they check their email. If there's any pre call videos as well, they're over on the thank you page. And I'll even usually have my SMS and email automations reroute them back to the thank you page. If there's a significant video we really do need them to watch before the call, like some sort of pre call training or pre call just warm up. Maybe it's a quicker pitch so that the sales call is more formality based and you don't have to go through, all the technicalities that a video can easily cover. But that's really going to be where the qualification process is. Now, you guys do have to understand when I'm talking about getting these quality leads, it is going to come at a more expensive cost, of course. We're adding all of this friction. But in the grand scheme of things, it's going to make it to where your lead quality is better. You're saving more time by not having to hop on calls with tire kickers, and the people that actually are showing up to these calls are, valid leads you can have a conversation with and actually, be able to properly pitch your services. So it'll also mitigate you having any burnout or just wasting time on sales calls. That's really the main reason why anyone needs to really focus on their lead quality. This is something you do after you've already got good leads coming in. So let's say you're launching a campaign and you have a ton of leads coming through the door. Okay, great. In retrospect, at first, it may seem like this is like a really good thing. You get all these leads coming through, but in retrospect, half of these leads are unqualified. Maybe they don't fit the age demographic. Maybe they can't afford your services. Maybe they're just straight up not even like business owners or not even like the clientele you're going after. That's when you know that you're ready to start using some of these strategies to really creating more friction. So, most marketers, when they're talking about funnels, we're talking about friction usually in a negative way. But when it comes to lead qualification, there's positive friction in the sense that we intentionally want to repel people that aren't meant to be there. Make sure that the only people that are coming in are valid, fit our offer, for having productive sales calls. And at scale, when you're actually building a business, this is imperative. You have to have this. Because we're setting up this friction, it's likely going to get more expensive, cost to book a call, cost to get a lead, but I'm willing to bet that your cost to acquire a client overall will go down because you're only hopping on calls with valid leads. Next is going to be sales call feedback. So you can really use your calls as well to identify the leads, separate from the lead forms, separate from all the qualification that we had up to this point on the data we were collecting from the lead. The actual sales call itself is going to be the true testament to see if this lead is valid or not. So whether it be you or whether it be your closer, you can easily do some market research to see, okay, these leads that we're yielding from ads, like how are these sales calls going? More importantly, obviously, like are we collecting cash? Are we getting a positive return on ad spend? Because if we're getting a return on ad spend, we know we should not stop our campaign, even if it's only a 2x. Obviously, not stop it. And it's funny because especially as someone that works in the high ticket realm, even myself, sometimes I'm numb to some of these like return on ad spends. Like, oh, okay, we're getting them a 3x. Okay, we're getting them a 4x return on ad spend. But man, like if this were trading, if this were like a different industry where like even a 2x you're seen as like a god, it's like, oh my gosh, he got us a 2x return on our trades that we're doing. But the ads game is a little different. Granted, there's more upfront risk with ads because if you don't know what you're doing or if it's first time around, there may be some guesswork, some creative testing you have to do to figure a thing out. But again, as someone that does this for a living, as someone that consults multiple different ad accounts, you know, it's a numbers game. And if you're able to apply a lot of these principles, booking calls, getting a return on ad spend, assuming you have a good offer and a good price point and you can actually close, it's not rocket science to book leads onto sales calls. And lastly, consistency equals better leads. So get very specific on the leads you want to get into your program, on leads that you want to get into your booked calls. And then you're going to get very specific leads that actually come out on the other side and book the calls with you for you to pitch and close. So I want to dive in a little bit deeper on what specific means. So we have the who and we have the problem we're solving, right? So earlier when I was telling you about the ad messaging, I was saying, okay, who is your niche? And immediately within that first sentence, say, hey, are you this niche? You have this problem? Okay, well, I have this solution. Here's how we can get it done. We guarantee this, or we have this offer. We have some sort of, attractive time frame which we can get you these results. Click the link below to see more. So we're not just talking to a market anymore. We're not just talking to like a widespread demographic. What we're really doing is outlining a situation of a specific person, right? I'm speaking from a high level. I'll use some examples here now, but this is like when you strip everything away at its core, what we're doing from a messaging standpoint, as far as when we're going after our leads that we want proper messaging for to have a qualified sales call with. So let me give you an example. Let's say I'm trying to target marketing agencies, specifically marketing agencies that are already using Go High Level and that are already using ads. I say this also because this is something I've started doing recently. That being said, if you are a marketing agency, tap in down below, book in a call if you want to work with us. Something that we've recently been doing is rolling out our AI sales agents and coupling with marketing agencies, and we've been doing white label deals with them. So they're making a bag, selling this to their clients, and we're doing all the work for them in the back end as far as deploying these AI sales agents and AI appointment setters to book their sales calls. So what I'm doing in my ad campaigns, then I'm saying, hey, are you a marketing agency? Are you running paid ads right now? Do you have a ton of leads coming through the door? Or are you running paid ads for your clients right now? Do you have a ton of leads coming through the door? Oh, perfect. You're using Go High Level as well? Well, I have a solution for you. Or better yet, to get more problem oriented as well, one thing that I'll say is like, hey, are you a marketing agency that's running paid ads, but your backend systems aren't dialed, or your lead nurture is a bit of a sore point for you, or maybe you're trying to manage appointment setters, but they're very inconsistent? Well, we can integrate our AI sales agents or AI appointment setters to complement your funnel, to complement your ads, so that all of the leads that come through are getting consistent touch points on Instagram, Facebook, DMs, or the heavy hitters will also be like our AI sales agents will come in and text on email, text message, SMS. We'll also do iMessage, WhatsApp, whatever the messaging channel may be. But just essentially explain that we have a systemized way of utilizing AI so that it's way cheaper as far as the appointment setting costs, the overhead. It's way cheaper than having to pay a human. It's more accurate, and we're able to mask it so people really think they're talking to humans when they're actually talking to our AI appointment setters. So that's essentially like the substance of the ad. And it's like, hey, you want to hear more? Click the link down below and book in. Once they click the link and make it over to the page, that's where data collection is with the congruent messaging saying the same thing. The guarantee on that offer is we guarantee will increase your overall booked sales rate, your overall book a call rate without you having to spend more on paid ads because our AI system just naturally, just by having more touch points, will subsequently book them more calls. So, assuming we do have good lead quality, that's really going to be the difference between you having generic leads or you having specific ICP leads. So, imagine on an ad campaign, let's say we spent $2,000, and on this generic lead campaign, that $2,000 yielded us 15 sales calls. But of the leads that actually were proper ICP, ideal client profile, that fit who we were going for and who we wanted to actually pitch, only one of them fit the mold. So we ended up wasting a ton of money on BS leads. And more importantly, we wasted a ton of time. The business owner's time is invaluable. So we wasted a ton of time booking all these leads on the sales calls just for them to be a shitty pitch. Maybe we close one guy. Now, comparatively, let's say we spent $2,000. We booked 4 qualified sales calls. This is for a high ticket offer. Assume just in this. Let's say this is a $10,000 offer, right? So we just need to close one client to break even. So if our sales guy's now only taking 4 calls, but all of these calls are specific ICP, they're qualified, really the name of the game now is cool. We saved a bunch of time, right? Let's say we close one of them. Cool. We just made 10 grand. We have a 5x return on ad spend. We can turn around and continue to pump this out, continue to pump out that ad campaign. Over time, once you do scale up your ads, suddenly, you're going to be able to book in 15 qualified sales calls in a given week or 30 qualified sales calls in a given week. And then it just really comes down to capacity of the closer at hand. But it's so important before you can begin to scale and increase your spend that you have your ICP dialed and that the leads that are booking calls aren't bullshit. Otherwise, increasing the volume of your spend isn't going to solve your problem. You're just going to book, like 60 calls with bullshit leads and just waste a lot of time on call with leads that were never destined to buy your offer in the first place. So, niche clarity controls everything. If you have niche clarity in your messaging, if you have niche clarity in your ad, who we're targeting, the messaging is dialed. When they click over to the funnel, the headline is dialed. Your ad performance at its core will subsequently do better, especially if you have a pixel, like I said, so that when a lead opts in or when a lead goes through the qualification questions or when a lead books in, we're then rewarding that data back over to Meta. So if you're doing a Facebook lead form, there's no point on needing a pixel because all that data is still native to Meta's platform. You use a pixel when any event takes place that's on a website or just third party off platform from Meta. So usually if you're doing a website campaign and you're pushing traffic over to your website, that's when you're going to need a pixel. I personally use both lead forms and pixels. So any of my appointment scheduling that happens on my VSL or on one of my book a call page, Meta knows about. But what I was getting at is a Facebook lead form is on platform. So if you're doing a lead form objective to yield leads, if you have your qualification questions in there and you're using conditional logic, so if they click no to an unfavorable answer, DQ them. Don't let them submit their data to you. But if they click yes, all the questions in there are positive and favorable to your qualification that you're going after. Once they submit that data, Meta already has it. For example, going back to that going back to the marketing agencies I was telling you about when we're trying to work with marketing agencies, first question we ask, do you run a marketing agency? Yes or no? If they put no, immediate disqualification. Don't even allow them to give me their data. They have to say yes. Next question. Okay, cool. Do you run ads? Yes or no? If they put no, DQ again. Because we're looking for people that run ads. One, because that means that they're clearly farther along in the game. And two, our AI appointment setters that we build out work best with people that have ads because they have significant traffic. And our AIs are designed to have hundreds of leads coming through the door every single month, and that's really where we make a lot of money for businesses. So ads, yes, no. If they put no, DQ. If they put yes, cool, move on. How many clients do you have? If they don't have any clients, DQ. And then lastly, do you have go high level? Yes or no. Honestly, that last one is just for me to know. If they have GHL or not, it doesn't matter. We can either build them out of GHL or work in theirs. But what I'm getting at is once they submit the data, having answered favorably yes to everything, Meta immediately knows about that lead. So I don't have to train a pixel on that. Allow Meta just to continue to convert. So definitely have conditional logic if you're doing a Facebook lead form, or if you're moving off platform, you have to do your own conditional logic for your qualification questions as well. Usually with some if else statements if you're using go high level. So it's like if under 10,000, DQ'd. If over 10,000, if you're doing like a financial qualification, then if over 10,000, reward that to Meta. And I know I'm throwing around a lot of terms. I'm going to go ahead and leave my Instagram down below if you guys do have any questions on anything. I have a ton of YouTube videos on how to set up pixels, how to set up Facebook lead forms, how to optimize web traffic for booked calls, literally anything as it relates to booking calls for high ticket services or high ticket sales. That's my bread and butter. So feel free to hit me up. Happy to give you some 2 cents. And with all the data of leads that book in, conditional logic is going to be important at this part. But the idea is qualified leads get fed to the pixel, unqualified leads don't get fed anywhere, right? Disqualified leads, Meta should never know about them because that's just going to confuse. Now, over time, a metapixel becomes an extremely valuable tool. The first month, maybe, it's just about collecting data, getting things going. But, as someone that spent like tens of thousands of dollars on some of my pixels, it's really nice because I'm able to just like take that old pixel and create a new campaign, and it has a lot more understanding of my ICP, my target audience, without me having to start completely from scratch each time. So especially if you're an established business and you exclusively work in this one industry, you're just going to be throwing yourself a future touchdown by setting up a pixel on day one and over time really developing like a strong pixel of data, right? A term I always like to think about when running ads. There's two things that are really important when running ads. Otherwise, Meta is profiting way too much off of, and they're already profiting so much off of us. Don't get me wrong. Like we're literally paying for Meta's algorithm to get stronger. We're paying for their AI and their targeting to get stronger. So Meta doesn't have to spend really too much of any money on their AI to think because that's what us marketers are doing, right? But what I'm getting at is what we can do to capitalize on the money that we're putting up on Meta is two things. First is going to be data collection. At some point in your ad, you have to be data collecting name, email, and phone number. Otherwise, you're not owning any of this data. You're not owning any of this traffic that we're paying for. The second thing is going to be with our favorable traffic that we are paying for, that we are collecting our name, email, phone number for, feed the favorable leads to the Metapixel. So over time, when we continue to pay Meta to go target and get us new leads, we have a strong map essentially being like, hey, here's a map of what our ideal leads are, of leads that have previously booked in calls with us for, and these are the leads we're going after. Here's the map, go find more of them that fit this. And it's going to make for your campaigns to overall get cheaper over time and really optimized. All right, guys. So that from a high level is the rundown of everything to successfully get proper qualified leads. And then if you've done everything I mentioned, it essentially just becomes this flywheel where once you have more specificity, you're going to get better leads. And it's money in, money out at that point. I love ads because it's a numbers game. You run an ad that's messaged well. We're pushing the lead through the funnel that has congruent messaging and headlines. We're qualifying the lead with qualification questions. Once the lead books in with us, because they're qualified, we feed that pixel data back over to Meta, and then messaging, the conversation, the sales call. We're able to kind of get a takeaway of how this lead was, and then based on that, turn around and make better ads with better messaging that we can turn around and get more leads to push through our funnel, and it just becomes this beautiful ecosystem of getting a solid return on ad spend, right? Yeah, guys, that's all for me in this video. I hope you learned a thing or two. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram. You can also leave a comment down below and I'll answer everything. And if you are running a high ticket service online and you're looking to book more sales calls, like I said earlier, me and my team are currently guaranteeing an increase in your overall booking rate without you having to spend more on ads using our AI sales agent system. But we also work on funnel building and we also do ad consulting as well. But we only take on a couple clients a month because a lot of what we do is very custom work and it takes a lot for our team to actually scale up some of these businesses. So if you are interested in seeing if we could work together, I'll leave my booking link down below for a consultation if you do want to see if working together makes sense. Please only book in if you're an established business owner. We don't work with startups, and we specifically only work with people that have at least a ticket price of $2,000 on whatever service they're selling online. On that note, we'll see you guys in the next video.